McCLUE, and we are, of course, live on the big one, the internet phone-in. Thursday night, nothing gets past me, and it'll be lovely to hear from you. So much to talk about, so little time to do it in. Isn't this absolutely incredible? Show 105. How amazing is that? Welcome, 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 I say. Lots happening on here. Let's just see what's happening in the chat. Good evening, I shall say. And you can say good evening back to me. There we are. Good evening. Lovely. There we have it. Wonderful stuff. Good evening. That's it. And that's you got it on the chat there now. Fantastic stuff. Welcome, 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 I say. We're also joined by our beautiful TikTokers. They're coming and joining us as well tonight. So that's just amazing. Now, lots and lots of subjects for discussion tonight. But very importantly, we're going to talk about mobile phones. Now, I know mobile phones is how a lot of us are actually receiving this internet phone in. But what I'd like to say to you, are internet phones robbing young people, not internet phones, mobile phones, robbing young people of their childhood? And should we have a limit on when you can start with a mobile phone? There's a big story at the moment that as soon as a child gets a mobile phone, then they're open to all sorts of dangerous stuff on the internet. So I'd like to talk to you about that. There's Beachy. There's only one Dinky-Doo, and it's our Scottie McCLUE. Good evening, La. Hashtag Floaty. And to you, Beachy. Magnus says, Dinky-Doo, Scottie. Hello, Scottie and all. Karim, how lovely to have you with us. And a big Dinky-Doo. Give us a call, Karim. It'd be lovely to hear from you. And let's get the chat going. You're live on Scottie's Phone In. Who's that?
DINKY-DOO, Scottie, it's Karim.
Karim, how amazing are you? This is magic.
Scottie, are you sounding okay? You sound like you've got the cold a bit.
I have got wee bits for gold tonight, actually, but I thought the show must go on.
Absolutely.
I thought myself, do I actually go on, or do I pop up a wee sign and say having a rest tonight?
Yes.
But
if you're feeling a bit, what's the word, sluggish, then end it early.
Well, we'll see how we go. But the important thing is, I think it's nice to keep the continuity.
Correct.
And
yes,
when I was
absolutely.
broadcasting, I mean, regularly, because you're starting at your best at 10 o'clock at night. In a winter's night, you're going home at 4 a.m, and you could very easily, particularly in a radio station where it's all air conditioned, you could pick up all sorts of bugs. And you just pressed on with it. I can remember one night going, oh, no, just talking like this. And we spent the whole program. Oh, have you tried lemon and honey? And, fantastic.
I've tried everything.
Tried everything, absolutely.
Goodness, well, I hope you're feeling better, Scottie. That's more
okay, we're absolutely fine. I'll tell you what it is, Kareem. I think probably because, like your good self, we're putting in a full day's work.
Yes.
And I think the winter, you get this as well. You know what I mean?
Yes. We had a parents' night tonight, so it's been a very, very long day for me.
A very long day. Well, welcome. Well, it's lovely to hear you now. Our main subject for discussion tonight, I think, is right up your street, because it's our mobile phones robbing young people of their childhood.
Absolutely.
Yes. And you probably heard the big story in the news, is that when a young person gets a mobile phone, they're open to all sorts of problems on the internet. It's dangerous.
I think, Scottie, what's different nowadays, and I think from a lot of the listeners just now as well, maybe not the TikTokers because it's a younger gen, but people take to heart when people don't like, if they put a post up, or if they can make really snidey, bitchy comments, and they take it to heart. I'm glad I didn't grow up in the generation of that, where it can really have severe consequences. Yes. For mental health.
Oh, absolutely. And I think maybe an age limit. What about if you can't have a mobile phone until you're 15?
I think personally, it's down to the parents, Scotty, because if you think about it, how many times have you been driving the car and you stop at the lights and you're just looking about and you see a car pull up beside you and the kids are all got their own tablets in the back and they're just watching stuff.
Yes.
And tablets are larger versions of mobile phones, let's be honest.
They are, absolutely, yes, indeed.
And if they're getting that from a really, really young age, you know, they're getting, you know, that I know there's more restrictions, you know, there's child safety apps and all this kind of stuff, but it does get a bit difficult. And we've talked about this before, Scotty, in terms of kids. I think a lot of kids, their social skills are horrendous at times.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, their numeracy and their literacy and all sorts of things, because there's no requirement to spell things properly or to punctuate or what have you.
Yeah. I was actually thinking, this is sad, how sad I'm, Scotty, but I was actually thinking about this the other day when I was driving to work, and I asked myself the question, are kids doing more to nowadays from my time? And I was thinking, well, I think yes. Maybe not the way that you described there, where it's like proper punctuation, all this kind of stuff, but they've certainly done a lot more reading because they've got that facility at their fingertips. Whereas in the past, you know, they'd be limited where they would have a book. You know, all right, I need to go to the library. All right, I need to go and get it in my room. Whereas you've got your phone, you're reading.
Well, that was it. I mean, when I was wee, you either had to ask an adult that you trusted a question, or you had to wait till the library opened.
Yes.
Yeah. Or you had to ask your teacher. Yeah. So you couldn't get instant knowledge.
Yes. That's where I think nowadays, Scotty, kids do have instant knowledge at their fingertips. And I think if you were to get a time machine and take a kid from now back to, say, the 80s, you are going, there is a big difference. There's still problems, but I do think there has been, I suppose that's the generations as they move on, there are changes, I suppose. Now,
what we've got here, lots and lots of feedback, Kareem, on everything you're saying. I love the feedback on this show. You know, I mean, it's tremendous. Hello, Scottie. Hi, everybody. DINKY-DOO. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. So, Scottie, are these pictures behind you? Yes, they are indeed. Good evening, Scottie from Greenock. Oh, we like that. 100% Scottie. Sometimes the parents don't realize what's going on.
Yes. Yep.
Now, that's interesting, isn't it? And also, when you think about it, we were the television age. So parents used to stick their children, the generation after me, in front of the telly. And then they would say, come on, we need to get ready for school, put that off now, and they'd be watching cartoons.
Yeah. But now, Scotty, everybody has a TV in their bedroom, and they've got a computer which can connect to, well, I say computer, a games console. Won't name what kind, but they've got contacts, links, people they can play with throughout the world.
Kareem, am I not right in thinking that a lot of these modern cars, if you look in the back of the seats, they've got screens there?
Some of them do have screens as well, depending on the car and the make, the model. The cars have Wi-Fi now.
Yes. Well. I mean, you can get Scottie McCLUE in your car. We found that last night.
I was listening, absolutely. Through my phone, mind you, but yes, it was connected up to the car and away we go.
Fantastic. So, on the old Bluetooth. Magnus says, my handwriting's terrible now. I've been using a keyboard for years. I've lost the art of writing. Mobile phones are the new biggest addiction. The amount of people I see behind the wheel with a mobile is also a disgrace. I pass on the bus and the driver's heads are down while driving along. Now, Jimmy, this is going to be it is now a very, very serious crime.
Yes.
So these people are going to lose their license, so they need to be seriously thinking. I would think mobile phones off for a driver. Absolutely off. You know, because you could be coming up to a junction and then suddenly somebody phones you, look to see who it is.
Just distraction.
Straight into the back of the car in front.
I was going to say something's going, it's went out of my head.
That was me talking.
No, at all. No, but I just think overall, I think mobile phones, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons. And I'm going to flip it around, Scottie, that when you see kids in school that don't have friends, that are loners, for whatever reasons, we don't know. However, their phone is their escapism, where they can play games on their phone, they can read up news, they don't have what children had back when I was at school, where they just wandered around the corridors themselves, and it's heartbreaking seeing that. I don't like seeing that at all.
No. So there's a loneliness about it. So there we go. Well, the main use for it is to call when leaving school, says Beachy.
In an ideal world, that is the case.
So why don't we have it emergency calls and parental calls only?
Well, our policy is that if you don't use your phones at all, if parents have to contact, it has to be through the school office. It just keeps everybody right and safe, basically.
Yes, I think that's excellent, Kareem. Now, Scottie, try hot milk and honey, says Susan.
Yes. Well, what is that drink with the whiskey, Scottie?
Oh, a toddy.
A toddy, that would definitely...
A hot toddy. Oh, that shifts it, but I can't have it because I don't drink alcohol.
Yes. Well, true. I'm trying to think of it. There's lots of things. A bit of lemon, a bit of, ginger.
Yes, these are lovely, lovely things, these natural cures.
Yep. And there's a ginger I get. It's out of any Chinese shop. If you buy ginger, and it's a certain brand, it's all Chinese, mind you, it's a big packet. Scottie, you've never tasted ginger until you try this.
Is it gorgeous? My father used to do ginger wine.
Wow.
Oh, it was a gorgeous thing. It's non-alcoholic. It's like almost like a sweet syrup, but it had a bite to it. Right. And you got it at New Year.
Have you ever tried, and I was listening to a song and it had this on it, I was asking people about this, bread sauce.
Oh, yes.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, lovely. Oh, absolutely. Chicken and bread sauce.
Wow. It's just paste it together and make it...
Yes. Cauliflower and white sauce. Beautiful dish.
Right, okay.
You have to sort of be polite and not make off with most of the dish when it appears on the table.
Can you get bread sauce out of the supermarkets?
Oh, yes. I can remember a lady, and she was going round the supermarket with her daughter. And she goes, Margaret, look, I've seen it all now. White sauce in a bottle. It only takes a minute to make.
There you go. Yes.
Ginger wine for nerdy. I mind of that. Absolutely, Magnus. It was the big thing. People made these things because they had time. Here again, we're so busy on the phones. And we're so busy watching our YouTube, which is great, that we don't have time for making wine for nerdy.
Well, if they've got you in the background, Scottie, I've got you live on the TV just now.
Oh, wow.
Do these things as well.
And is it looking fine?
Yes, everything's fine. It's on my big telly, Scottie.
Brilliant.
Scottie, what's the name of... I keep forgetting, my head's up my backside because I'm knackered. It's wine, but it's at Christmas and it's hot wine. I forgot what
mulled wine.
That's it. Yep.
So what you're doing, you're heating up the red wine with cloves and spices.
Right.
And then sometimes they used to offer people that after a watch night service. So when people went to church on a cold Christmas evening, you went downstairs afterwards and there was soup, or you went through to the church hall and there was soup, or there was mulled wine.
Does it taste nice?
Oh, beautiful.
Right, okay.
Yeah, but you would only have, nowadays, again, it's probably changed because if somebody's driving, you wouldn't have it.
Right. Okay.
So you would say to the missus, no, you carry on, dear, I'll drive.
Well, that's two things I need to try tasting.
Mulled wine, yes. You see, Kareem, what people forget, Christianity hijacked a lot of important festivals.
Right.
Now, there was the ancient Yuletide festival. And that's when human beings saved up things. They got all their crab apples and their rose hips and their brambles and all the fruit, and they bottled it and made jams and jellies and what have you for the winter.
Right.
And they saved up their wood for fires, and then they had a celebration of Yuletide.
Right. Okay.
You see? Now, all the old peasants got together like good King Wenceslas.
Yes.
So they all got together and got some fires going and tried to survive the winter. And there was a saying, a green Yule makes a fat kirkyard.
Right. Okay.
Now, the days when, I don't know, they never managed to get all the earth back that they'd taken out, and there were these sort of raised mounds in a churchyard where some
Right.
poor soul had been buried. And that meant a fat kirkyard. So you had a lot of mounds if it was a green Yule. In other words, if there wasn't enough frost to kill off the disease.
Right. Okay.
And I would be very interested in if a very severe frost might wipe out the whole COVID thing. Do you see? Because viri tend to be weak. So they're actually only good if they're being transferred from individual to individual at close range.
They said it died when it was a certain heat or temperature, so that'd be interesting to see if it was like a minus, because our cold winter's still to actually, it will hit us in January, won't it?
Yes. So if you had a very, very cold winter and somebody said, hey, where's the COVID? You went, gone. The frost killed it. Be amazing. But we need to talk to somebody that knew their stuff to see if that would work.
Yeah. I'm surprised someone's not thought of that yet.
Well, we think of stuff on here because we're clever, you see.
Well, I did say yesterday, because my friend's he was talking it down, is that if the African scientists are saying it's just mild symptoms. But I said, well, that's true, but we're in our winter, they're in their summer over there.
Yes.
So we've got lots of other things here floating about, at this time of year. It's not good.
Well, all these things make a difference. I mean, you'll know yourself in your profession, very often just before the holidays, you got yourself a chest.
I'm feeling that just now, Scottie, to be honest.
Yes.
Knowing Wednesday be finished next week.
And it's because you've stretched yourself. Mm-hmm. I had a friend who was a teacher one day, and I said to him, how are you doing? You're looking tired. He went, I've just got nothing more to give.
Right.
He was just completely wrung out. You see, and as you know yourself, the young people are tired as well. And they've been through a lot with all this,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think people are fed up with it, but we still need to keep our level-headed.
We need to keep plugging on, as they say. I liked, there were many pluses and minuses about the late Winston Churchill, but I loved that he said success was staggering from one failure to another with no loss of enthusiasm.
Absolutely. Yep. Wise words.
It's wonderful, isn't it? Kareem, a privilege talking to you. I will dash off and we'll catch up soon.
I'll say DINKY-DOO, Scottie. Thanks for having me. Bye now.
DINKY-DOO, get a sleep, la. Bless you. There we are. Fantastic. To the telephones as soon as possible. Ginger wine for Nerdy. Hi, my name is Ross, says Ross. There we go. What do we got here? Good evening, Scottie from Lavech in Greece. On the way back tomorrow for Christmas. Neil. Yasu. You're live in Scottie's Phone In. Who's that? Hello?
DINKY-DOO.
DINKY-DOO. Pablo.
That's the one and only.
The one and only, Lala. How are we?
Yeah, not too bad, Scottie. You see you got a bit of a cold there.
Tiny bit, but nothing to write home about.
It's just a seasonal cold, Scottie. I've just got over it myself.
Absolutely. Everybody's coughing and spluttering, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you'll have it now, and then at least by Christmas you'll be all right. There's nothing worse than getting it in the lead up to Christmas Day.
Oh, for goodness sake. Or the night before Christmas out at the church,
Yeah, you can't enjoy Christmas.
Well, do you not
marks.
remember when we used to go to divine service or to mass, and the priest or the vicar would say, "Could you now turn to your neighbours and offer them the peace of Christ?"
Yeah.
You know, and you took hands and you held hands. Sometimes you touched cheek to cheek and all that stuff all round about you. Could you imagine that nowadays? Not happening.
Not happening. My cousin made me laugh. Who was in church having a mass, and it's called "Peace Be With You" in the Catholic Church.
Peace be with you, and also with you. Pax vobiscum.
Well, that's it. And then you give the sign of peace, which is shaking each other's hands. And my cousin turned around. He said, "Why is it old women, when you go to shake their hand, you do it softly so you don't hurt them, and they squeeze your arm and break it?"
Oh, aye, absolutely. They get a hold of you, and you think, "Oh."
That's it, Scottie. But anyway, talking about your topic tonight, I think that teenagers need them simpler for emergency purposes because of today's world we live in.
2 seconds, Pablo. Folks, if you've just joined us, you're watching Scottie McCLUE, #FloatI, all uppercase, the first lord of the internet. And we're talking to Pablo from Salford. And our main subject for discussion tonight is mobile phones. Are they robbing young people of their childhood? Thank you, Pablo. We'll take it from there.
Yeah, I'm going to come at a different approach. I think that when children or teenagers spend all day on the phones, it's robbing them. But I mean, I think why parents are forced to give the children the phone is simply for emergency purposes, and I mean more like teenagers, because the children that are in primary, infants, nursery, the parents drop them off, know they've gone into class, and know they're picking them up. But with today's world we live in, we can't rely on school teachers to tell us our child's late, missed today's mark, because normally when this happens, it's already midday.
Well, no, I would say, I mean, the Scottish education system might be different, but usually there's registration first thing in the morning. And if people haven't turned up, then texts will go out probably within, I would think, half an hour.
I'd say normally if the child's a bit late, but sometimes, Scottie, they don't come through the emails, the text messages. You might get it late as in 12
Well,
o'clock.
that might be to do with equipment or whatever, you know, but I think in Scotland they're very hot on that.
Yeah, so I feel like they do need it. I know, I think even by law, teachers aren't allowed to confiscate the phone off a child unless they're messing about in class.
Well, yes, I mean, I don't think that the children on their phones all the time are for emergency purposes. I think most of the time they're probably gaming.
What you got to remember, Scottie, when the mobiles first come out, there was probably 1 or 2 pixelated games you could go on, and apart from that, you wasn't wasting time texting your friend, because 9 times out of 10 you was the only person with a mobile phone in the school if you was fortunate enough for your parents to get you one back in the day. But I think there's too much distraction now for them to keep getting the phone out, and you know, instead of using it as, I don't know, you can use it as a calculator. So it has its plus points as well, Scottie, having a phone in school.
Oh, listen, a child's any mobile phone is many, 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 many times more powerful than the computer that took NASA into space.
Well, that's it. I class it as a supercomputer. I mean, I look at my kid sometimes and he's on, I mean, TikTok's fun, it's interesting, Scottie, but if that's all they're doing, watching silly videos, I'm thinking, there's so much power of knowledge on there. I'd rather you go on Duolingo and learn a new language.
Well, unless it's Scottie McClue's TikTok, and that is well worth a look.
Well, it's educational.
Oh yes, there's lots and lots of lovely videos. I would say to everybody with TikTok, get on to @Scottie McCLUE.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Scottie. We could use the phone as educational and fun purposes, but here's where the parents don't do enough. They just let them have the phone, don't know what they're doing on it. It's almost like I'll go on my TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. There's so much to get lost in that, you know, it's a shame that there's a world of knowledge out there and it exists in the internet. Soon there won't be any libraries.
Well, do you know that you would need 1,000 years to watch the content on YouTube?
1,000 years.
So my advice would be start with Scottie McCLUE's channel and work up from there.
You can't go wrong, really, Scottie. You know, stuff like this. If you want to keep up with the kids in school, maybe they should start putting it, you know, like a YouTube on. Because when we was in school, we used to bring, like, you'd have a video day where they brought the big telly and put a video in. Yeah. So
and there wasn't a peep out of a class. And it didn't matter how challenged the school was. When you wheeled that big telly in and put on a VHS, the children shushed each other.
Exactly.
Because shut up, we're watching.
But normally it was education. It was like educational.
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
Like something to do with science or... I mean, if you tried to read a book, I've never, you know what, Scottie, that's one thing I've never got into, reading a book. But I think now, this generation, you tell them to read a book and they'll look at you like you're a madman.
Every single ounce of my knowledge came from either books or very wise people. Because when I started broadcasting, there was no internet at all. No mobile phones, no tablets, and no computers.
Well, that's it. Well, what makes me laugh, Scottie, is when a doctor says, right, I've had it in the past because you know about my health problems. They say, don't always read everything on Google.
No.
Well,
we won't say Google. We won't mention any particular search engine. All it says is don't believe everything on the internet.
Yeah, on any search engines, because don't self-diagnose yourself, right?
I think that's wise, because you could drive yourself up the wall.
Exactly.
You could say, I've got such and such, and somebody could say, you've not got that at all, Pablo.
Yeah, but Scottie, you know what makes me laugh? But at the same turn of the cheek, they say that, right? And then if you go into, I don't know, the surgery, they used to look at the doctor book for medications or whatever. So say, for example, you had something on your tongue, and they said, right, stick your tongue out. I've seen doctors go on search engines and says, oh, no, it doesn't look like that. Oh, yeah, it looks a bit like this.
Well, the problem is a visit to the doctor now is totally different. When I used to go to the doctor, he was looking out the window at you and making some sort of diagnosis, the way you were, the way you walked. When you came in, he would just very, very gently trace his fingers across your neck to see if your glands were up. He would, be there for you face to face. Now you go in, the doctor is on their computer from the previous patient and says, if you just have a seat, I'll just be with you in a minute.
I know that's strange in itself to me, Scottie.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't get off the seat and check your chest. I mean, they do. They do sometimes, but sometimes don't they just give you a prescription and off you go. And
see, with a patient like you, the first thing I do is get the old stethoscope on and say, hello, Pablo, how are we today? Can you just lift your shirt there at the back? Thank you very much. And big breath in and out and in and out. Once more. Yep, everything's sounding all right there, Pablo. Well done.
Well, that's it. They learn as well with someone who's got crackles in the chest. If I was a doctor, Scottie, I wouldn't be sitting in my seat just self-diagnosing, thinking, well, he's under specialist. I'll just go off what they say. I think a lot of that goes on now with this electronical stuff, Scottie. I think they just look at the specialist report and say, for example, I'll just give him a recovery pack of antibiotics and steroids, send him on his way. If no good, he can see a specialist, and a lot of that's going on today, and that's because of technology as well. Because it's not like your old family doctor, Scottie, where you went in and he'd ask you how your mother was and how you are. It's not like that anymore.
All that stuff, absolutely. And they'd also ask you, they'd say, now, tell me honestly, how much do you drink? And you'd say, maybe, I don't know, maybe half a dozen cans a week. And they would put their eyes up at you like this. And then you say, okay, well, maybe half a dozen cans a day, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I used to used to not know the units, because I know they used to say a can's 2 units, but when you used to fill a form in when you join a new doctor's, I'm like, I don't know because I'm a social drinker who drinks once every now and then, and I couldn't tell you. But
I think if I remember, a unit is a glass of wine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you shouldn't really have more than, is it 6 units a week?
I think it's about that, Scottie.
Yeah.
I'm not too
All
sure.
right, Jerry, evening. Jimmy, are you right, Scottie? As soon as my grandkid's not at school, my daughter gets a message. Have you got your Christmas tree up yet? Are you going to put decorations up behind you? I might do.
Well, right, Scottie, before I go, I want to know if you think this is a good topic that might be worth bringing up, because I was going to speak to you about it. What do you think about school education time and the length of time the children is? Is it okay, or should it be, longer? I think that's a good topic.
This is why I've brought up the mobile phones, because there was a wonderful educator in Scotland in the 1700s called Robert Owen. And he had mills, and he built a little model village called New Lanark, which you can see to this day. It's an industrial museum. And Robert Owen also insisted on housing his workers and educating their children. And he said, up until the age of 7, no books. Dancing, singing, marching.
Yep.
So that was it. So up to the age of 7. And this is why I'm doing my Robert Owen. I'm Scottie McCLUE. And I'm saying, no mobile phones up until 12.
I agree with that more than one reason. Obviously, we don't know the health risks so far. I mean, how long have we been into the phone technology?
Well, we still don't know, because you think about it, a young brain that's forming, and you're holding a very powerful transmitter about half an inch or a centimeter away from the brain.
Well, most of my telephone calls are normally with a headset. I don't really do mobile to my head.
Yeah, but you're not typical of everybody. You put a bit of thought into things some people couldn't give to.
Well, Scottie, this is what I wanted to ask you, right? I've never really seen you with a headset. Now, I don't know if that's a personal choice or whatever.
I don't need it with this new equipment.
Yeah, but what do you think about the magnetics in an headset? Do you know what I mean? Because I'll tell you why I'm bringing this up. Do you remember when every taxi driver had an hands-free key?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, they did, and they had a thing in the rear. We'll not mention the name.
Right. Okay. So they had one of them. But do you know during that time, Scottie, what was really high? Brain tumours.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying if they were linked or not, but all you heard out of people's mouth was, my nephew's been diagnosed with a brain tumour, and you don't see him as much now. You've got like Bluetooth headphones,
Yeah, don't be mentioning names though. But
no, Scottie won't. But what I'm saying, I don't even use Bluetooth headset.
Yeah, but don't be mentioning names. That's what I'm saying. Because we don't want to single out any particular systems.
No. I won't bring
what I'm saying is that another thing is that young people usually have a pocket in their school shirt, and it's on the left-hand side, and they put the mobile phones in that pocket. Now, that pocket is right beside their heart. The heart runs on electricity, 1/10 of a volt, and it pulses. So, you don't want the mobile phone interfering with the heart rhythm.
Exactly. And the women, Scottie, where did they put the phone?
Yeah, absolutely.
In the back pocket, that makes no sense to me. But another thing about the phone, Scottie, people are so addicted to it, even myself, that I will be on my phone during charge, and allegedly it's supposed to transmit more radiation. How true it is, I don't know. But that's another thing that people say, you shouldn't be on the phone whilst it's on charge.
Well, very, very interesting. So there we are. Guys, never put a phone in their pocket, says Magnus.
Yeah, so anyone listening, children on phones, don't allow them on charge is my
Yeah.
whatever
Pablo,
it is,
I'm going to
my
dash
advice.
off because people are going daft. Lovely to hear you.
Yeah, dinky-doo stuff.
Dinky-doo, all the very best, and we
Bye-bye.
shall catch up tomorrow. Fantastic. That's our Pablo. A fantastic place, says Jimmy, with the waterfall and the live interactive experience. Absolutely, Jimmy. Trouser pocket. Yes, indeed. Yes. Oh, lots and lots of. Here's Gordon. Hi, Gordon and Oliver here. Have you got Christmas tree? Fantastic, Gordon. We'll maybe do your wee Christmas program. Charlie says, Scottie, get a toddy over your neck and you'll be right as rain in the morning. Charlie, I firmly believe that, but as you know, I've elected not to drink alcohol. What's your view on the Battle of Culloden, 1746? Shocking. Absolutely shocking. The treatment of the Scottish people by the English military was an absolute disgrace. And I think to this day, we should actually have reparations for Culloden. You're live in Scotty's phone in. Who's that?
Hello, Scottie.
Hello, who's that?
Callum from that Borough.
Who is it?
Callum.
Callum, how lovely to hear you. Dinky-Doo.
Yes, I'm a dinky-doo.
Yes, lovely to hear you. Always tell me when you come on who it is, Callum, and then I know you'll see.
Yeah.
Wonderful. What's happening in Barra tonight?
Oh, nothing much. Nothing much.
And are you at the school tomorrow?
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah, sadly. Come on. And then you finish up when next week?
This Tuesday.
Tuesday. Oh, you'll have a lovely time. And are you ready for your holidays?
Yeah, well ready.
Fantastic. Well, tell everybody in Barra that on the internet phone in, we're all asking for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell the Barra boys Dinky-Doo from Scottie McCLUE.
Yeah.
Yeah,
do you know Ewan?
I do know Ewan, yes.
Yeah, he's very upset.
Yes. Ah, well, there he goes. Well, you know, he got it a wee bit wrong last week.
Oh, I know, it's disgraceful.
You know, so there we go. So he needs to stop that.
Yeah.
Because we are setting this up for people to have a nice chat. And I know you guys love it. Anyway, tell Ewan not to worry. Tell him I'm over it now. And we'll press on.
Yeah.
And what we say is, Aikiva Maha. Aikiva Maha. There we are. Fantastic stuff. There we go. From the Gelchok in Barra. Fantastic. We love it. What do we got here? Good evening, everybody. Good evening. 1746. What time is it in Culloden? No, Jerry. No, Jerry. Yeah, it's Jerry. Jerry, you need to come on and explain yourself. So there we go. Do you have a view on the Battle of Culloden? Of course I do. I've just given it to you. Ah, ginger beer and a raw egg will sort you out, Scottie. I'll tell you another one, David. Somebody came out. This is quite an old-fashioned one. And when I was working down in Liverpool, one of the chaps said his mother would say, boil up an onion. And I suppose you drink a bit of the juice. You're live at Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Hello, Scotland. It's Martin. How are you?
Martin, Dinky-Doo, lovely to hear you.
Dinky-doo to you.
What's happening with you?
How are you, Scottie?
Excellent. Now, what do you think of our main subject for discussion tonight?
It's very, very good, that.
Very interesting. So,
I think teachers should take mobile phones off school kids when they're in school because they basically pay too much attention to phones, like they lose concentration. So it's best if teachers take off people's mobile phones before they enter the class.
I think we should have an arrangement with the parents, and once the child is in school, they hand their phones into the office, and if there was an emergency, they could get it back to make a call.
Yes, but I don't give them to them while they're in exams.
No, don't
or-
give them to, well, you can't have them in exams anyway. That would be cheating if you used it.
Yes.
You see, so you can't have that anyway. So they would get handed in.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And how's things with you, Martin? What stage are you at?
I'm still on 250 at the minute, but I'm going up slowly, slowly.
Say again. Sorry, I'm losing you.
I am up at 285 now, so.
Oh, wow. Episodes of Take the High Road.
Correct.
We love it. And you'll get it on the STV player.
Yes, well.
Wonderful. STV is a wonderful, wonderful television company. I worked for them for many years.
So how's,
Martin, can I tell you, when I worked for STV, I had monitors in my studio and I could watch Take the High Road being made.
Wow.
Isn't that wonderful? Am I not just one of the luckiest boys in the world? And I used to actually watch them making it. And then you'd hear the director go, and cut.
Something as well. When you go to Glasgow, there's all films getting made, like sets. And
Oh, yes. Nowadays, Scotland's going to become big in the film industry, Martin.
Is it?
So you'll need to get yourself a wee part.
Yes, I know. That's good.
Yes, absolutely. That would be fantastic. What would you like? What kind of character would you like to play in an ideal world?
I like to play. Maybe think about that and let you know.
Have a wee think and see how we go. And it's lovely talking to you.
You too, Scottie.
Hey,
love you.
And DINKY-DOO, love you lots. There we are. That's our Martin. Fantastic. Now then, whatever happened to Paladin the Lamp, says Professor Numpty. What are you on about, Numpty? There's a condition which GPs are seeing more of when a person is used to having the mobile phone on vibrate in their pocket, with the person there feeling the vibrations, and it's known as phantom vibration syndrome. Jimmy, are you working me from the back, or is this correct? I see they're going to build a massive film studio in West Lothian. Yes. How amazing is that? Very smart, Scottie. Thank you very much. Lovely to have you with us, Mr. Psycho. Test, indeed. Testing. Do you copy over? We copy over, JD. Go ahead, please. There we are. Fantastic. Now then. Lots of reaction from you. I gave up, Scottie, trying to just say hi. JD Cricket. Never, ever, ever, ever give up. Take the words of your old pal Winston Churchill. Never, ever, 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 ever give up. And you've said hi, so you've won. What if you'd actually given up? There we are. Professor Numpty. Glenn is fine, says Magnus. Why don't you and Martin get a private room? Because JD, he was only on for a minute or two. So there you are. Why don't you get a room with him? And then you can chat. Why don't you phone us? Too much on the mobile phone's bad for your eyes. So there we are. What did you have for dinner? Dinner was beautiful tonight. Absolutely. Dinner was a cheese and tomato tonight. Lovely. Very, very good for me. The tomatoes are very good when you're a little bit under the weather, I could tell you. The phantom vibration, I get it quite a lot. There we are. But we didn't go to the moon, Scottie. How do you know? Does anybody know what the first words were by the astronaut when he first saw the moon? Can anybody remember? There we are. Get typing. Discipline these days is to send the kids out too much technology in their room. There we have it. Yes, indeed. Rolled it in a big stand with a video recorder below. That's right. A big VHS recorder. And then you got the tape and you put it on. Tremendous. And the class were as quiet as mice. There we are. Susan, very well. Feel like a new boy. I've not been on. Poor Scottie. He's got the cold, very light cold. Jerry will be fine, for goodness sake. And we've got tomorrow night's phone in and Saturday night's phone in. Doctors aren't doctors. Same with the police. Now, that's a pretty bold statement, WY7777. I had heart palpitations because I kept my phone in my top left pocket. Well, there we are, you see. Very interesting. I'd be more worried about trying to stand next to a power substation now, Beachy Beachy. Why on earth would you stand next to a power substation? Let's have it straight. Come on, man. Right, to the telephones as quickly as possible. Lots to talk about. So little time to do it in, I say. Excellent stuff. Good to hear, Jerry, says Susan. There we go. Electrical charge. Yes, indeed, electrical charge. Does anybody remember the Van de Graaff in school? When your hair stood on end with the electricity. Very, very strange. Hopefully it's just gold. Of course it is, Jim, for goodness sake. There we go. An app that locks everything other than the parents. Yes, absolutely. Yes, good idea. I like that. Scottie, how do I phone in? CBS, you'll see the number in front of you. Go to the YouTube channel. If you're watching me right now on TikTok, go to the TikTok bio and you'll see the direct link to YouTube. Now, everyone with an internet connection should be subscribing to Scottie McClue's YouTube channel because that's the home of the internet phone-in. Madness not. If you haven't subscribed to Scottie McClue's YouTube channel, do it right now. And tap the bell so you get your notifications. Even the small subs you live beside, I know what you mean, Beachy Beachy, but you wouldn't hang about that. Now, there we go. Is this you making a noise again, proud Scotsman? Of course it is, Alexander. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Know all the sevens. It was no way could a cow jump over that. There we are, fantastic. That's what I would say. Now, who have we got here? I'm on the YouTube channel, but I can't seem to find how to phone in. Right, let me check. YouTube channel. Let's see if we can get this up for you. Right, in front of you now, can you see a black line across the bottom of the screen with the phone number? Right, do tell us. Yes, I do, Caitlin. A fine, fine place. Excellent stuff. Absolutely. What about this? There we are. How's that? What about that, guys? Now, what have we got here? Hang on. Ah, I see what's happened there. Let me just change this a wee bit. Let me change this a wee bit to give you a chance. Why has that come up with that, I wonder? Yes, it's coming up with a part 2 on it. That's from the other night because the show was in 2 parts. Very, very, very popular show the other night, guys. If you get a chance to look at Monday night show, there's 2 bits to it. I would do it. It was an incredible phone in, but let's see if we can sort this. Let's see if we can sort this for you. It's coming up with part 2. How do I sort that? There we are. Does that look better? How about that, guys? There we go. And you'll get the phone number there. Fantastic. Do I just phone like a normal phone call? Of course you do. Are you a sailor? I am a sailor, Samis. Although I'm not sailing at the moment. But yes, I come from a seafaring family. Yes, 3 deep sea captains and a deep sea chief engineer. Can't beat it, can you? Here we go. Now, can you see it now? That's fantastic. Right, lots of you joining us. Fantastic stuff. Share and follow me. And come on for a wee chit chat. I'll just check the lines are open in case we've got a problem. Right, you should be able to ring up now, guys. Give us a wee call. That would be fantastic. We've got about 8 minutes left of the show. So it would be good to hear from you. So try the phones now. You'll see the number there. Give us a quick call and we can have a wee chat. And tell us what you're thinking about the internet phone in. We're relatively new, but we're relatively successfully new. So we like that. I had an idiot on last night talking about me being failed. An idiot. 40 years of success. And he was calling it failed. You're live on Scotty's phone in, is that?
Hi, Scottie. It's CBS 1690. I managed to phone in.
You did, and it is lovely to hear you. And DINKY-DOO.
DINKY-DOO to you too, Scottie.
Was it nice and easy when you actually just rang in?
It was a little bit difficult. I had to type the number in 2 or 3 different times for it to work.
Right. And here you are, you're in business.
Yes. It's just as far as everyone's saying about the phones in schools.
Yes.
Now, from my personal opinion, I'm severely dyslexic.
Right.
And when I was in school, I was allowed to use my phone just for the spelling side of it, and obviously the writing side of it.
Yes.
And I do believe that children should be allowed to have their phones in school if it is used for those ways, basically.
I could not agree more with you. I think that is an excellent idea. So we're beginning to formulate some kind of schedule for phone use.
Yes, it's like, for example, the schools of the future that they're doing all over Britain at the moment.
Yes.
I was just working on one, and what they do is, instead of having books and paper and the rest of it, every single thing is through tablets.
Yes, absolutely. As long as the young people charge their tablets and have them ready. You see, it's very funny. Apparently, some young people can be a bit sluggish at doing their work, saying they don't understand this and they don't understand that. And yet, they can go on the phones immediately and understand a lot. When did you ever hear a young person say they were confused about using their phone?
Exactly, Scottie. And the main thing I do appreciate, obviously, that kids nowadays will spend more times when a teacher's talking to them playing games on their phones.
Yes.
But if we went and done the same as what they do in places like America, you're allowed to have your phone on you, you're allowed to use it, but they actually block out games and apps. And
excellent. Excellent.
You can only use it for phone calls and messages, but the only numbers that you can receive is your parents or medical numbers.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, now you're talking. I think we need to get a system going in this country so we don't damage our beautiful education system in Scotland.
Exactly, because I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I'm severe dyslexic, and I don't believe for 1 minute that if I wasn't allowed to use my phone for the spelling side, obviously the autocorrect, being able to say the words and appearing on my phone.
Yes.
I don't believe for 1 minute I would have the qualifications or hires that I have now.
Wonderful. And would you say that the phone has helped with your dyslexia then?
Oh, definitely, because it's a lot easier for me to say a word to my phone.
Yes.
And actually get the spelling than actually trying to open up a dictionary and go through a dictionary and try and find it, if that makes sense.
Of course it makes sense. Fantastic. What a brilliant call. How lovely to hear from you.
No problem, Scottie. Like I said, it's the first time I've actually managed to phone in, so I do appreciate you taking the call.
Well, what I'm going to say to you is now that you've done it, nobody can ever take that away from you, and you can become a regular caller now.
I think I will, Scottie, as long as you keep having the debates on different discussions.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, I know that there's nothing wrong with this product. We just need to get it out there. Exactly. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I would say we haven't got a big audience, so we're just going to chuck it.
Exactly. And I've also noticed, Scottie, every single morning that you're on, before I go to my work, I always ask for a historical quote.
Yes.
And
and I do it every morning. And so far, every time you gave me one, I've still managed to beat the old person at my work that happens to know every single thing about history. So I'd just like to say thank you for that.
Wonderful, no problem at all. And Dinky-Doo.
DINKY-DOO to you too, Scottie.
Top man. That is fantastic. What brilliant calls tonight, guys. They are. So you can see the number, everybody. Happy with that. Now then, yes, absolutely. Now, there we go. Favorite whiskey? Well, Stu, I no longer drink alcohol. I used to be quite a whiskey buff, but I no longer drink alcohol, and I have to be honest, I don't miss it. It's very interesting. There are guys, we're running very tight for time now. Lovely to have you with us, and a big dinky-doo, I say to you. Scottie, how are we? The new hour is 3 o'clock. Scottie, the hour. Drewski, how lovely to have you with us. And Dinky-Doo from North America. What a joy. This is just so exciting. To the telephones, let's hear from you. Let's see who's in the chat. Scottie, we used to get chicken soup when we were feeling under the weather. Yes, Charlie, soups. Tremendous, even the small ones. Yes, indeed. What do we got here? That was the stuff. Very well based in the west of the city, doing a lot of adjustments. That's why I'm not on. So they were right, Jerry. Fair enough. There's a £1 million house, and he gives an address, and it's next to a substation. Oh my goodness me. Well, I wouldn't be paying £1 million for a house anyway, even if I had it. Fantastic stuff. What show are we on, Scottie? We're on 105, if I remember rightly. Guys, I'm going to say goodbye to our beautiful TikTokers. Thank you for joining us. And Dinky-Doo from Scottie McCLUE. Lovely, lovely. There you go. Our lovely, lovely TikTokers there. Fantastic stuff. And a big thank you goes out to them. There we are. Now, why did you quit alcohol? I did it on a Christmas, Jim, because I had to drive to see a friend for Christmas dinner. And the night before, I was calculating from the day before how many units I would need to make sure that I was clear. And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to chuck this, and then there's no risk. Because nowadays, if you were over the limit with alcohol, you're a criminal, and a serious criminal. There we go. And I think you'd probably lose your job as well. So that's why I quit it. And I must say, I don't really miss it. Guys, it's been a blast tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Just fantastic. Please do me a favor. Tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10 about Scottie McClue on YouTube with the internet phone in just for you. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't pretend to. Don't say, oh, I will at some point. Actually, do it. You're live with Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Hello.
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 Hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
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 Hear me?
Yes.
Who's that?
It's Scottie McClue.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fabulous. Are you okay?
I'm great.
Who's that?
It's Billy.
Bailey.
Billy, aye.
Bailey, lovely to hear you and a big Dinky-Doo.
I like your show.
Are you enjoying it?
Loving it, man. It's brilliant.
Never a dull moment on here, Bailey, and it's so lovely to hear you phone up.
It's lovely to hear you. I'm glad I got on.
I'm very glad you got on because we're just about to go.
I know. That's why I'm glad, because I just wish I could have got on earlier.
Absolutely. We've just been a very, very, very busy night, Bailey. But listen, give me a wee call again. We're on tomorrow night, Friday night, and Saturday night.
I will then. I'll
And we'd love to hear from you.
I'd love to hear you again, too.
Yes, where are you from, Bailey?
Where am I originally from?
Yes.
I'm a Yorkshire man.
How fantastic. I am the world's only honorary Yorkshireman.
How's that?
Yes, when I worked in Yorkshire for 4 years, and they made me an honorary Yorkshiremen.
How did you do that?
I don't know. It was just so kind of them. They said I had all the qualities of a Yorkshireman.
That's quality streak.
Isn't that beautiful? Bailey, I'm going to say God bless you and night-night.
Okay, bye-bye now.
Bless you. Bye-bye now, top man. Fantastic. That's us, guys. We are out of time. Scottie McClue saying to every single one of you, thanks for watching. Dinky-Doo.